What's up and welcome back to the Kinda Funny screencast. Of course, I'm Tim Geddes and I'm joined by the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez.
Got a bunch of allergies right now, Tim.
Oh, you're not sounding good, Andy. I'm so sorry. We have the Big Daddy himself, Greg Miller.
Hello.
The producer / seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Top of the morning to you, Tim.
And rounding out the group, we have the big dog, Kevin Coelho.
My hair's got so much fluff to it right now. Look
Dude,
at that.
it is. Earlier, so we have a new background going on. I'm liking this. I'm liking the depth. I'm liking what's going on in the hallways. Very Moon Knight
stuff.
A lot of hallways in Moon Knight. A lot of hallways in Kevin's house, it turns out. But do you have a fan going? Because I was seeing a nice...
I just turned it off because it looks stupid with it. Yeah.
Yeah, some say stupid, some say majestic. I don't know. What side do you fall on? Let us know in the comments below. Of course, this is the Kinda Funny screencast where each and every week we get together to talk about the latest in TV, movies, and trailers. Of course, you can get it on youtube.com/kindafunny or roosterteeth.com. You can also get it as a podcast by searching your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny screencast, and we'll be right there for you. The coolest thing is we're getting multiple screencasts this week. We're doing Moon Knight because, of course, every single week we're going to be reacting and reviewing Moon Knight. But tomorrow, we're going to be posting our review of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Me, Kev, Bless, Joey, we're all about to go watch it tonight in 4DX. Gotta go fast, baby.
Wow.
So we'll see how this goes.
Sure
Can't wait to watch the movie. Can't wait to talk about it with y'all. It's going to be a good time. If you want to support the show even more, if you want to watch the show ad-free and live as we record it, you got to go to patreon.com/kindafunny, just like Molecule, Fargo Brady, Pranksy, and Anonymous have done. Today, we're brought to you by Chime, DoorDash, and Babbel. A quick little note that I just want to give you all an update on. Mission accomplished, everybody. I have secured our tickets for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Very, very exciting. I had to wake up at 5 a.m. because there was risk. I heard it was coming at 6, but I was like, I don't trust them. So I woke up in a panic at 5, kept refreshing. Nothing happened. At 5:45, they went on sale. So I'm like, I'm happy I was there early. And guess what? I didn't actually secure them until about 6:50 in the morning. So this whole ticket system needs to get fucked and figure its shit out. But anyways, guys, congratulations. We're going to see the movie. I do want to give a special shout out to Andy Cortez, who slacks at like 6 a.m. Oh, hey, good shit getting them. I happened to wake up and was going to get it. I'm like, I don't think Andy's ever been awake at 6 a.m. from waking up. You know what I mean? I understand it if you never went to sleep, but I was like,
no, it's all thing. Yeah, I just always wake up and, out of nowhere for no reason. But yeah, I happened to just wake up, open up my phone, because, I always look at my phone like, what time is it? And I saw people in my Discord being like, Doctor Strange tickets. I was like, and I just like went to the link, went over there, and I was like, 9 tickets. And I was like, just get whatever 9 you can for the 7 p.m. Dolby. And I was like, and then I saw Tim Slack. I was like, oh, thank God. All right, cool. I come back out.
Yeah. That's very good, Eddie. I'm very, very proud of you. Thank you for stepping up and trying.
I'm proud of you, Tim.
Absolute best.
Proud of you.
Thank you. It's what I do, baby. It's what I do. Today, we are talking about Moon Knight Episode 2, Summon the Suit. Nick Scarpino, I want to start with you. What did you think?
I liked it. I thought it was a better episode than the last one. We got all the reveals I thought we'd get over the next few episodes. We pretty much got in this one. So I'm like, okay, well, now we know what's going on with this. I thought Oscar Isaac did a good job kind of going back and forth between the two characters. And we've solved some of the mystery. We got some cool action sequences. So I think I liked this one thoroughly.
Andy Cortez.
I feel like I'm kind of the same as Nick, and then we got the really unfunny line of "I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I'm Steven without a V." And I was like, that is one of the worst things I've ever experienced.
Have some fun, Andy. Don't let allergies ruin your fun index.
It's just bad. I hated that. But I really enjoyed most of the rest of the episode. I don't think I liked it as much as 1 because I think maybe episode 1's mystery is kind of what kept me going. But still, I love Oscar Isaac's performance. I love him dipping, between going back between Mark and Steven. And there was still a lot of other really funny moments. Very small, subtle, just line dialogue exchanges between whoever Steven is talking to. It's never anything that's going to hit you over the head with, here's the punchline, but it's just really kind of quirky little character moments that Steven has. And then I just some in the suit, some in the soup. I had a great laugh at that. And once we finally let Mark take over, it's like, oh, it's fucking on right now. And I think there's like just such a cool difference between when the cool guy takes over, and we get those action sequences. And yeah, I really dug this episode. I'm still along for the ride. So yeah, let's see what episode 3 has next week for us.
Greg, Ori, James, Miller.
Hi, Tim. Good to talk to you. Good to see you.
Good to talk to you. What'd you think of
Yeah, I was cold on episode 1. I didn't get the vibes you guys got from it. I thought it wasn't it didn't leave me wanting for more. This episode did. This episode I liked a lot. This episode I thought did a great job of what I thought. You guys were very much like, oh man, episode 1 subverted our expectations kind of thing. This one did that for me, where like I never thought watching episode 1 that the CG dog he was fighting was in his head or whatever. It was only visible to him. So I liked that reveal of going in and seeing the security. I mean, as soon as he leaned over, the security footage, like, oh, this isn't going to go the way he thinks it's going to go. I didn't expect that. And then, you know, the conversation about like, all right, we're going to get you to this hospital, and then the people taking him. And then I really dug the conversation between him and Ethan Hawke, and like, you know, really setting up what's going on. And like, I loved the thing that, you know, Ethan used to be the Avatar, so he kind of already knew what he'd be saying and shit. Like, those interpersonal dynamics are what's going to pull me into the show. And so the introduction of the wife and trying to figure out what happened between her and Mark. And then, you know, watching episode 1 was so much like, what's the deal with his mom? Like, is his mom dead? Is she going to be real? The calls he kept making. So then to have that conversation where, you know, he mentions his mom and the wife thinks it's Mark and says something about his, and I was like, oh, like, so Steven's like not even the real person. Mark was always the real person. Or how's it like I love those questions. I love seeing how that's going to net out. And I thought the fight was cool. I thought the suits were cool like this time around. Like, I had a really good time with this episode. This episode got me on board.
Oh, that excites me, Greg. Kevin Coelho, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I think it's so cool that we're getting thrown into the middle of the story, and I feel like we've asked for that for so long, and Spider-Man did that too, where it's like they don't have to give you the backstory or ever, you know, with MCU. And I think that like them actually doing with a show with a character that is less known than Spider-Man is like a really bold choice, but I think it's paying off. Like, I'm having a blast the whole time. I think Ethan Hawke did like really good. Like, it's one of those things that like his performance in this episode to me was like, this is why they brought this man on, and he's killing it. I'm excited to see more of this. I'm also interested, like the Khonshu's manipulating of Mark is making me really into like, what is like, is Khonshu like the good guy? Like, is there an actual good guy in this story? Because it's like the way he's like being like, all right, Mark, you're not gonna like my next thing, to keep him on and doing things is really fucked up, and it's really, I'm curious to see where it goes.
Well, yeah,
the CG looks great.
Oh yeah, one of the things I love about it, right? Yeah, he did look good in this one. I love the idea that these gods really do seem to be that we're just playthings to them, right? Like, we don't matter. They're not gods in the way we've seen before of a pure god or a devil or something like that, right? It is very much like means to an end, and they're using the humanity to do that.
I told y'all last week to stay on Hawk watch, and I remain there. I think that Ethan Hawke might be high on the Ragu Bagu list, everybody. So stay tuned to all of that. He continues here, like Greg was saying. I love him being the former Avatar. Like, that just adds such an interesting layer of dynamicism to this whole thing when it comes to, you know, Steven and Mark and the different kind of personalities that are there, but then also adding the Khonshu factor, who I still love his design so much, and I love how much we're seeing of him. I kind of expected it to always be more of like a in the shadows, maybe like the big reveal moments, and that was kind of it, and then shy away otherwise. I like that they're really doubling down on him as a character and having dialogue, and it does come off a little goofy sometimes, and I don't think that it fully works. And I think a lot of that is, and maybe this is just me, I don't love the cinematography in this. It's some of my least favorite cinematography we've had in any MCU project in recent memory, where I find a lot of the camera movements kind of not appropriate for the scenes, and maybe that has to do with what they're trying to make us feel like uneasy and stuff, but something about it's not working. I know everyone's talking about the freeze frame. Like, those type of decisions are just a little bit weird.
There was one for me that was the one in the car with the cops that weren't cops, where like when they looked at his arm or something, they were like that, and then they did this weird like pull back to the back.
Pulled
like,
back.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, exactly. It's those things that. What's up, Kev?
What was the freeze frame people were talking about?
Oh, there was just a random
when
freeze
he's
frame
running.
Looked up.
in the
He, like,
hallway.
looks
It
up,
would like cut
yeah.
to slow-mo a little bit and the lights are flickering. The last shot of that scene is like it's a freeze frame for a second, and it's just it's
You may
really
have
weird.
it's
you may have
bizarre.
thought you may have thought your internet froze or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But it's a moment where he's running and he looks already kind of goofy, and it almost feels like it's trying to play comedically, and then it just kind of like for a second it just like shines on him and he's like, oh, he's looking all scared or whatever.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you, Tim, where I feel like we've seen the showrunners and stuff like that talk about how they kind of were given full permission to go as weird as they wanted, and I feel like they are trying to get a little too weird with cinematography. There are some nice shots, I think, of there was that one shot that I really dug where they just sort of focus on Khonshu standing on top of a building kind of with his little staff, and it's like that's a really dope shot. That's like a kind of a cool painting that I would love to have, but other than that, yeah, I think they are going a little weird in every kind of facet of this the making of the show.
See,
Yeah, and go for it, Nick.
I was gonna say I don't mind that, but go. Why don't you do your point first, Tim, and I'll
What?
counterpoint.
Well, I was just going to say that it's just not vibing with me now, but this show more so than any of the other ones because it's so mystery based. And I guess WandaVision was like this to an extent, but I think this is different because it has more of the Falcon and Winter Soldier. This is just a really long movie vibe than some of the other shows we got. Like Loki felt more like a TV show. WandaVision definitely felt like a TV show, but Falcon and Winter Soldier felt like a movie. This feels like a movie experience. And I'm more excited to go back and rewatch this when it's done than any of the other series because of that. And I wonder if the weird choices and camera moves are all tied and thematically relevant to the different personalities and different characters. And as the mysteries kind of start to be resolved, if we'll get that, because I am really loving how quickly they are asking questions, answering questions, and just keeping that cycle going. And where we end episode 2, it's like, damn, last week I was saying like, we've seen so much of the trailer footage. What do they have left? Like, it's so exciting that we don't know. After this, like running through my head, like seeing him pull the little like the moon thing from the moon, whatever, like we saw at like the money shot. We're out of money shots from the trailer. Like that's really exciting to me. Of like we have 4 episodes left and we're kind of in the dark on that. And that's just from the big set piece moments, not even the story beats and character stuff that I think they're doing a really good job with. The introduction of the wife character I thought was fun, interesting. I like giving him someone to talk to that is more on his side to be able to kind of help us understand the exposition of everything. And also, I love that actress. She's the sister in a show I recently fell in love with called Rami. And I'm really happy she's in the MCU. I didn't know she was going to be in this, so that was a pleasant surprise. But I think my favorite thing of the show so far is Oscar Isaac and seeing him play off of himself and the way that they do the reflection stuff. I thought was going to get gimmicky after a while because it's like, all right, we're really going to go with this whole trope of using the mirrors. But the fact that they're making that actually part of the story where he mentions the reflections, I thought was really, really good. And like, I'm like, oh shit, like they're addressing a lot of the stuff in ways I didn't expect them to, like even the accent and even like the just overall the tonal shift and not just tonal, but like the shift in the way the show kind of feels and the characters feel when it went from Steven being the main character to Mark being the main character and like Steven being in the reflections. I am so excited for that. I think it's such a unique take to kind of start with Steven and like have us all kind of like grow over 2 episodes thinking he's the main character, but he's not. And that is a very unique thing for the MCU. And I think the best thing going for it is that Steven's so fun and lovable. And I like that they built him up enough for us where I love that the comedy isn't joke with him. It's more just like he says words like bonkers, and that's funny. And it's just his delivery of things that I really enjoy. Like when he's looking at the security footage, he's like, "Are you crying?" And he's like, "I am a bit."
A little bit.
Like
Yeah,
it's just that type of those things, man.
It's the little pushover nature that I think makes him so endearing as a character, because we've all kind of known somebody like that in our lives, and I just really enjoy that. Yeah, again, it doesn't have to be here's a big punchline moment, and here's gonna be like, oh, here's the hit to the end of this joke that's been developing. No, it's just a little. It's kind of like honestly just British humor, which is like some of what I enjoy watching some of my favorite British actors in whatever sitcom they're in, and it's just like the little tiny mannerisms that make you smile and laugh all the way through, as opposed to like the big sort of laugh out loud moment. I am still kind of
Real quick though, let me just finish that point
yeah,
that I'm done here. Is what I like is that they set 2 episodes of us with Steven really understanding that humor and really understanding the way he is, and now we're always going to have that as a smaller part of the hero American character that we're like a little bit more used to in the MCU. And I think that is so cool because this show has unique personalities and characters between Oscar Isaac, all of the personalities, and having Ethan Hawke. I'm really, really into characters that we haven't seen in the MCU yet, and I think they're doing a great job. But continue.
No, I just wanted to talk about the sort of little the little outpost that Ethan Hawke has, the Hawke Watch. Kevin, can you hit the Hawke sound effect? There it is. Thank you. The little outpost that they have, this little commune, because I really dug that with the whole conversations that they were having regarding going after people that may commit a crime in the future. Very Minority Day, or no, not
Report.
Minority Day, Minority Report.
You're all down with killing babies?
Yeah.
That's not really.
I really enjoyed all the back and forths there, but I'm still trying to kind of, I guess maybe some of that dialogue just went over my head. Maybe I wasn't fully understanding the motivations there. I need some more clearing up there.
Well, I think the point was to put them sort of diametrically opposed to each other, which I think the scene kind of rushed a little bit. Like they had the heel turn for Ethan Hawke really quickly there, which was it is what it is. It's one of the things that I think we've complained about for some of these shows prior, which is just that the sort of main motivation for the bad guy is just doesn't seem like it's all that important. And I know in this one it's like, oh, it's supposed to be world ending because he's telling us that, but everything is world ending in the MCU, so it's kind of hard to have everything be varying degrees of intense.
I was hoping that they would let it cook a bit longer, where it was like when he was giving his speech and showing us around the compound and giving the lentil soup, it was like, I like it. I like how this guy's presenting himself, and I know he'll end up being the villain and he's going to be, bad, but I'd love to play with that if it was gray a bit longer. Yeah. Of like, your God doesn't care about you, right? He doesn't care about what's happening to Mark. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. He's letting bad stuff happen. Like, obviously his reasoning is flawed, but it was, then the quick kicker there at the end where they all immediately turned on. I was like, oh man, I wanted this. I think it would have been cool to let that go a little bit longer.
I will say though, I do like where they put Steven in this, right? Because there are we have to remember there's 3 characters. There's Steven, Mark, and then there's the Hawke Watch. And I think it's interesting because Mark obviously is conflicted. He's not really necessarily siding with it's Khonshu, right? That's how you say the guy's name. Mm-hmm. He's not really siding with him. He's actually kind of a slave to him. He's sort of been enslaved in this guy's employ because he's threatening basically to take over his wife. And you're starting to see a lot of the reasons why he kind of left her and these things is more to protect her because he's in this horrible situation. And then you have Steven sort of looking at both of them and kind of being like, they're kind of both bonkers, right? Like minority reporting people, which of course, Andy, you and I have always talked about starting the future crimes division of KindaFunny.
Right.
But where you do the future crimes?
Where we just talk about future crimes we want to do, but never actually get around to them because they take too much effort. But that concept is so interesting and so fascinating to have a bad guy, kind of look through. While you got the sort of stereotypical Mark getting out there and like exacting vengeance on bad guys, which is something we've seen 1,000 times in every single. I mean, we just watched The Batman for Christ's sake, and he literally declared himself as vengeance. So it's kind of cool to play in that little gray area. But I'm with Greg. I'm with Greg, where it's like there's nothing more than I love than that feeling of like, oh, maybe the bad guy's not bad. Maybe he's okay. Maybe we're wrong and we're the bad guy. Oh no, he's just a bad guy. Okay, no, Ethan Hawke's just killing people and he just randomly kills a person on the street that asks him for $1, and you're like, okay, he's that bad. But it'll be interesting to see how these all unfold and how Mark can get out of this situation, or Steven can help Mark get out of this situation.
Before we keep talking though, let me tell you about our sponsors.
You got back-to-back meetings, errands to run, and chores to take care of. What's the secret to clearing your to-do list? A little help from DoorDash. You can get dinner, household essentials, and everything on your grocery list delivered. I'm gonna pause the ad and tell you, ladies and gentlemen, how do I know so much about DoorDash? I used it this morning. I woke up, I had to get the house ready, I had this guy coming to work on the garage, I had the nanny coming over, we had no clean bottles, I cleaned the bottles and everything, and I was like, I'm hungry and I need coffee and I don't have time to make either. I DoorDashed Jen and I some breakfast today and it was great. When I was sick last week, I DoorDashed Gatorade because I wasn't about to go out. DoorDash is great. Back to what they wrote. Ordering is easy and your items will be left safely outside your door when you choose contactless delivery drop-off. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code KindaFunny. That's 25% off up to a $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code KindaFunny. Don't forget, that's code KindaFunny for 25% off your first order with DoorDash, subject to change, terms apply. For most of us, learning a second language in high school or college wasn't exactly a high point in our academic careers. I took 3 years of French, and guess what? It didn't stick. Now, thanks to Babbel, the language learning app that's sold more than 10 million subscriptions, there's an addictively easy and fun way to learn a new language. Whether you'll be traveling abroad, connecting in a deeper way with family, or just have some free time, Babbel teaches you bite-sized language lessons that you'll actually want to use in the real world. Je parle un peu français, and I was talking to Jen's mom here and there about little things. Mon chapeau, you know what it's about. Other language learning apps use AI for their lesson plans, but Babbel lessons were created by over 100 language experts. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you improve your pronunciation and accent. I could use that for English. Start your new language learning journey today with Babbel. Right now, you can save up to 60% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/kindafunny. That's babbel.com/kindafunny for up to 60% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. No one likes waiting on a paycheck, especially when you've got bills due. Good thing there's Chime. Now you can get your paycheck up to 2 days early with direct deposit. That's up to 2 more days to save, pay bills, and generally just feel good about your money situation. But Chime is more than just getting paid early. It's also an award-winning mobile app, checking account, debit card, and optional savings account. So what are you waiting for? Hopefully not your paycheck. Get started with Chime today. Applying for a free account takes less than 2 minutes. Get started at chime.com/kfgames. That's chime.com/kfgames. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank and Stride Bank NA, members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depend on the payer.
Kev, you look raring to go to say something.
No.
No.
I also I wanted to say I thought there would be more to the whole Moon Knight in his actual formal attire suit.
Yeah.
Mr. Knight.
I thought there was going to be something else there. Obviously, we've seen these images sort of beforehand, and it's been part of their promotional material. And the way it was given to us was not what I was expecting at all. I thought it was just going to be another personality sort of thing. Go ahead, Tim.
So what's interesting about that is from all the Moon Knight comics I've read, at least. So that's the character Mr. Knight, and it's not like this at all. Like, it looks like that, and I love the look of it. I think the suit is so damn dope in the show. But the Mr. Knight character in the comics is way more of like a badass detective that's just kind of like smart and chill and figuring things out. It's like the more like the Bruce Wayne Batman side of it all. And this was an interesting take to make Stephen Grant kind of take on the Moon Knight form or Mr. Knight form and make it a little bit more bumbly and like kind of just like Steven's character, but in a superhero suit.
It almost just seems like the punch, like it was just meant to be a punchline.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, which is interesting. And I expect them at least to kind of get away from that eventually. If we see Mr. Knight again, I don't think it's going to be like this, but I also don't know. I feel like they're doing a good job of kind of like keeping even me, somebody that has very little knowledge of Moon Knight, but I've read some of the comics that to keep me on my toes of like, wow, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. I'm interested in that, but it's weird because he's usually not comedic at all.
I liked it. I like that as being Steven's take on what the suit is supposed to be, right? It's like it's whatever version he kind of manifests. And I hope that when he takes over the body again, his human body, and he has to summon the suit, that he does that. And this is the suit that comes back. I thought this was a cooler look than the actual suit itself, personally. And I love that he pulls out the sort of daredevil batons and he's like, cool. Like instead of the scythes or the little moons that he has,
These little
the
sticks.
traditional,
Kinda
yeah.
cool.
I was like, that's kind of cool. And I like that there's room for him to grow. Because one of the things that's kind of like that's fun to watch about these is obviously like Steven's figuring out how to use all these powers too. And so it's fun to see him sort of fail at least first and then realize, holy shit, this suit has a lot more power than I thought it was, and try to like, you know, try to own that jackal, which I'll tell you what though, if you want to talk about one rare criticism of this particular episode, that CG still just does not look very good. But I love that they were like this. What if what if we just didn't see the jackal for most of the fight? What if that
Yep.
saved us $50,000 in rendering fees? Okay, cool. At the third time they cut back to it, I was like, we need to see the fucking jackal. We need to see what he's fighting. Otherwise, this is just really, really weirdly boring watching him just floating in space. But
yeah,
I
think
like
most of the CG budget went towards Khonshu because I thought Khonshu looked fantastic in this episode. Granted, it was a lot of sequences where I think it reminds you a lot of watching Halo, right? Where we got that close up of the elite and seeing the elites in motion didn't look so great to me, but when we got the close ups, you could tell that a lot of the detail was shown there. And then I think we got a lot of that with Khonshu, where when he's having those one-on-ones with Steven or even with Mark, I forget who he is talking with at the very, very end of the episode.
Mark.
But the rendering there looks fantastic. This doesn't look like a character that doesn't belong in that world. I thought it looked really, really good. But yeah, contrast that with the jackal running on the ground. It's like, oh, maybe you should be invisible. Maybe we should see more of these invisible fights.
Yeah, that looked that. I mean, not. I'm being exaggerating when I'm saying this, but it reminded me a lot of Mortal Kombat when you saw Raptor, or was it Raptor?
Reptile.
Reptile for the first time. You're like, whoa, that is an N64 right there. If I ever saw it rendering, I thought that looked. I thought Khonshu looked better in this, but even the close-ups, I'm like, there's just a layer of finesse missing from that, and the Egypt sequence at the end when he opens up the window. I'm like, this looks like a rendering from Cinema 4D, and maybe that's just because I have spent countless hours trying to tweak anti-alias settings, or in that particular piece of software that I recognize it. But I'm like, this doesn't look real. It doesn't look photoreal like you would expect from a Marvel movie. But it's good enough to keep the story moving along. I would actually be really fascinated to see if someone could cut all of this down to a 2.5 hour long movie. Because I'll disagree with you guys earlier on your point of this, not like how this is shot, not vibing. This vibes with me. I think a lot of the interiors look really, really good. And I like that they're starting to sort of like branch out and put feelers out for a very weird style. Like this episode had a weird vibe to it that I kind of dug. And I wish this is one of those where I'm like, I kind of wish this was a 2.5 hour long movie. And I wish they'd do like a super cut of this where Disney would just put out like the actual movie for it. Because some of the other, like, I think there's a lot of extra shit in here that you could probably just cut out.
I do think it is worth it for me as somebody who's been rewatching Better Call Saul, where I just love an episode that ends on a cliffhanger. Like it's probably my favorite thing in media. And for episode 1 of Moon Knight to end with that fight, him walking towards the camera, cut to credits, like I'm such a sucker for that. And I don't think it didn't have that much of a big hit for me in episode 2, kind of showing Egypt. It didn't give me that same sort of vibe, but I'm still a sucker for the more episodic content where we can talk about this a little bit longer and kind of go into these episodes a little bit more in detail.
Yeah, I'm with you, Andy, and I love that we're with this show in particular. It seems like so far, at least, we're getting longer episodes than normal for the MCU Disney Plus shows, where I would say they average around like 40 minutes. These are closer to the hour mark. So
yeah, this was like
different director, right, Tim?
Oh, I didn't notice who directed this one. Give me
This one was
sec.
Martin Scorsese.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, this was different director. The first one was Mohammed Diab, and this is Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. Looking through the rest of the series, it seems like they, for the next couple episodes, shift back and forth, and then Mohammed does the final 2 as well, to close it all out. But yeah, I'm with you in that I'm a sucker for cliffhanger stuff, and I don't think this was nearly as hype as the end of the first one. But I do like that it kind of signals that like we're shifting away from the areas we've seen before, and I feel like it's the story is moving on to its next phase, and I think we're gonna get a lot more like Indiana Jones style adventuring in the next couple episodes, which I'm excited about. I also think it's really key to point out that the screeners for press, they only sent out 4 episodes, and I think that that's a really weird number, because normally when they do these things, they either send all of them, like just the first one, or 5 of them and leave the finale to be a surprise. So it being 4, it's like, what's going on? What do we got going on the next 2 that they're okay with people know them, but the final 2 being more of a secret,
2-part finale.
I mean,
I think
out of 6.
I think it could be just their storytelling in terms of having like their 3 arcs, because it really does seem like episode 1 and 2 are kind of the introductory levels. We're getting to know these characters. The mystery has kind of been revealed. Now let's get into the actual, the actual heart of the
Second act
matter,
of it, yeah.
which is going to be, trying to stop Ethan Hawke from resurrecting Amit or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I'm super stoked about this show. Really, really digging the vibe, and I just love Oscar Isaac. I think he's fantastic.
The one big question I have is this gold man going to come back and be anything
God, I
relevant?
hope so.
Or
Oh,
is
yeah,
it just
right?
his little friend,
Really, what you have to start thinking about is, Greg Miller, what's the smell factor of this gold outfit? Because you figure you can't wash this thing, right? But you're in it every day, sitting there sweating. Is there a funk to it? I never want to
Big
get
time
too
funk.
close to the
Big
silver
time
guy
funk.
down in Pier 39. I just like I don't know if I want
You're,
to.
it's funkified. It's funkified for sure, Nick.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
Good to know.
What are the funk levels?
Off the charts.
I think we're
What's
at
The
Soul
bear's
Brother
needle.
level.
What's the skin cleansing like strategy there? Because you gotta
Andy,
assume.
I swear to God, I thought you were gonna be like, this bit's run its course. Like, what?
No,
I'm gonna
he
ask you
doubled
real
down.
questions to get up. And no, he's going down. I fucking love you for that, baby.
Yeah, because I just I can't imagine like just what a night, unless he just has really good natural skin. But good lord, I mean, if I wear makeup for any part of anything, I'm just immediate breakouts. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
I'll have
mhm.
acne until the end of time.
Closing out this episode of Screencast, a fun fact I want to drop for all of you. Each episode of Moon Knight has a hidden QR code in it. And if you find the QR code and scan the QR code, it gives you a free comic book that you can read. And the first one is Werewolf by Night, issue 1. Or no, sorry, issue 32, which is the first appearance of Moon Knight. And in this episode, it's Werewolf by Night, issue 2, which is his second appearance. What will they do after this? I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out. But that's a kind of fun thing.
Yeah, this is the one that I
keep your eyes
immediately
peeled.
kind of, because after episode 1 aired, all the TikTokers are talking about it and everybody's talking about the QR code. So this is one that I immediately recognized and went to go scan it, and was pleased to see the
comics. I'm not a dork, and left.
Exactly, yeah. But I was pleased to see that the website was like up and running, because I would have assumed that maybe too many people trying to access it at that exact time might have crashed something. But yeah, it brings up I think what I don't enjoy about it, I kind of just wish it brought up websites that have existed already and not websites that were in service to the show. Because I kind of feel like that breaks the coolness factor to me. Like if it just opened up some Marvel website that had been up and running for a long time and was referencing something, as opposed to like when you scan the QR thing, it says like, hey, here's the Moon Knight fucking thing that you're watching Moon Knight right now on Disney Plus. And it's like, it feels less like I'm solving a mystery and doing something cool, and more like I'm just opening up
Part of the
promotional
marketing.
material.
Yeah. Well, let us know in the comments below what you thought of episode 2 of Moon Knight. Any questions or theories you have for episode 3 and beyond. And until next time, I love you all.